Hello, and today Chris Webber gets his redemption shot.
Rebound Webber. Webber covers it up. They're down to 18 seconds left. It's a 2-point ball game. Webber to the right side with Phelps on him. Webber in the corner. And now he's called what? Michigan can't take a timeout. They don't have a timeout.
Chris Webber was part of the Michigan Fab Five that included Juwan Howard, Jalen Rose, Jimmy King, and Ray Jackson, all freshmen, led by head coach Steve Fisher. Heading into the 1991 basketball season, Steve Fisher and Michigan were coming off a disappointing first-round loss in the National Invitation Tournament. Far removed from their 1989 championship season, Steve Fisher was named interim head coach prior to the start of the NCAA tournament because then head coach Bill Frieder announced he would be leaving Michigan for Arizona State the following season, prompting athletic director Bo Schembler to relieve him of his duties.
We struggled, lost in the first round of the NIT, and a lot of places NITs are pretty good. But where we were, it was unacceptable.
Steve Fisher knew he had to turn the program around quickly. He and his coaching staff focused their efforts into recruiting. Howard, King, and Jackson committed early. This led to the staff being able to recruit Jalen and Webber in the lead-up to signing day. Now with the Fab Five intact, Fisher looked to ease the freshmen into college basketball. Webber, Howard, and Rose were able to quickly establish themselves as starters. King and Jackson would eventually join the starting lineup. The Fab Five, along with coaching from Fisher, would find themselves playing against defending and eventual champions Duke, a rematch between the two schools from earlier in the season.
I felt like we did at least lose to a better team, and that was hard to swallow, but I felt like we're going to get a couple of more cracks at it. Everybody says that, but I really believed it.
Heading into their sophomore season, the Fab Five were determined to make it back to the national championship. And they did. Michigan was given a number 1 seed in the 1993 NCAA tournament, which didn't make things any easier. They narrowly beat UCLA in the second round and then faced a stacked Kentucky team in the Final Four. However, they managed to win and face Dean Smith and North Carolina in the national championship game. Here are Chris Webber's redemption shots. First and foremost, it's the NCAA tournament. Upsets and Cinderella runs are going to happen, and it's what makes this tournament so great. Michigan were a Jimmy King putback away from going out in the second round to UCLA. North Carolina was taken to overtime by Cincinnati in the Elite Eight. Had Cincinnati been able to win, then Michigan is not facing that North Carolina trap defense in the closing seconds of the national championship game, a defense Steve Fisher should have had a play ready for.
If Chris Webber called a timeout, regardless of what he says or I say, I'm the guy that should have made certain that everybody knew.
This was one of those out-coached moments. Michigan took their final timeout with 46 seconds left in the game. 46 seconds is a lifetime in basketball. Careers have been made or ruined in less time than that in basketball. They obviously should have held on to that timeout a little longer. Down by 1, Michigan was forced to foul North Carolina's Pat Sullivan with 20 seconds remaining. Pat Sullivan made the first free throw but missed the second. Chris Webber was able to come up with the rebound, and that's where the problems began. He could have passed the ball to Jalen Rose, but chose not to and traveled instead. The ref missed the call, and Chris proceeded to dribble the ball up the court where he wound up being trapped.
He didn't make the pass. He kept it in his hand. He kept pushing it up the sideline. And we stress in practice that, the out-of-bounds lines is an extra defender.
North Carolina knew what they were doing. They had play ready for this situation. Michigan had not. This solidified Dean Smith as a legendary coach. Prior to this, he only had one national championship, which he also won in New Orleans, and was attributed to a mental error by Georgetown player Fred Brown. Michigan coach Steve Fisher should have been on his feet, screaming at the top of his lungs to avoid the trap. Webber called timeout because he was ill-prepared for this moment. The team was ill-prepared for this moment. North Carolina came to win and forced 10 turnovers in the first half. Steve Fisher should have had a better game plan for the second half. Michigan had 20 seconds to dribble up the court and set up a play. Dean Smith had his team prepared for this moment. He had George Lynch prepared to intercept the pass to Jalen, and then George and Derek Phelps trapped Chris Webber in the corner. Nonetheless, Chris Webber was issued the technical foul, and North Carolina's Donald Williams made both free throws, ensuring North Carolina's victory. Michigan got through the tournament on skill, but it takes proper preparation and leadership to win a championship.
I think this is one of the most overrated and most underachieving team guys who come in and epitomize what is wrong with a lot of basketball players, and that, which is specifically, please, they think they're better than they are. They come along, they cruise, they come in and say, hey, we're Michigan, we're really great because everybody says we're great.
It is unfair and has been unfair for Chris Webber to be blamed for Michigan not winning the national championship. He was a 19-year-old college sophomore, not old enough to legally sit at a bar or rent a car. To scold and point the finger at him has been a bit harsh. Everybody has made a mistake, but very few do it in an arena with thousands of fans in the stands and millions watching at home. Now, he never really became that guy you go to in crunch time. He got close in Sacramento, but they couldn't get past the Lakers for numerous reasons, and some are questionable. How much this affected him, I don't know, but I do think it has some effect on his mentality. Yet when you're Mr. Basketball, #1 overall recruit, #1 overall draft pick, then you gotta step up and be the guy. Nonetheless, due to the Ed Martin scandal, none of this happened. Michigan vacated all their wins from the 1992-1993 season, along with the 95-96 and 98-99 season. Had the whistle been blown on Ed Martin sooner, then Chris Webber, along with the rest of the team, may not be playing at all. Unfortunately, it was the 2003 class that suffered the most with their self-imposed postseason ban. Thanks for listening. Like, subscribe, comment, share, and I'll be back next week with the next redemption shot.